in order to get it onto the sheet.
Okay, when you are ready, please give yourselves an introduction and a countdown of when you'd like the timer to start, and then we will begin.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay, hello, I am CheeseJay, and I'm going to be running SMO Damageless World Peace, or Mario Odyssey Damageless World Peace. God, I can't even speak. And I am joined by T-Man Dan and Lugager in the VC. How are you guys?
Hello,
Yo,
I'm
what up?
T-Man Dan.
Hey, I'm Luggager.
I think we're pretty much good to start. I can give a countdown and then we can start, and we can start explaining some of the basic movement tech. But
Yep, please. Yep.
okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so let's just get some of this basic movement tech out of the way. The way you move Mario in this game is just by rolling. That's the fastest movement option, and that's just done by crouching and then shaking the controller. So there are a whole bunch of motion controls in this game, because why wouldn't there be? And, yeah, I'm just going to be trying not to take damage everywhere and killing every single boss in this game. That's the goal. Cap.
Yeah, one thing you'll probably notice Jay doing during this run is taking corners that usually would be cut a little safer. Most likely this first corner,
Yeah.
I assume they're gonna not cut as a regular speed run.
Won't do that.
Yeah, why kill the run immediately? It's pointless, especially for a live setting.
Yeah. I mean, the entire run is just about optimizing for the potential for mistakes and trying to remove any potential that exists, just so that way you can get more consistently to the later parts of the run.
Yeah, I often say, like, when I run Damageless, it looks like I have OCD. For example, like, when I go onto a flower road, I'll always jump over the gap onto the flower road because I clipped through it once, and I never want that to happen again, even though it's incredibly rare to happen. But yeah, little things like that, just, you don't want to risk.
I think everyone has that one or two things that have happened to them, because there is some jank in this game, unfortunately. So there's sometimes something jank will happen to you, and you'll never forget it. It will be with you forever.
You really get to know the ins and outs of things like that in this game, running Damageless.
Topper, I play quite a bit differently here, because I don't want to take damage. I think I might just dodge this at this time, honestly. I might just go full save here.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
This feels weird. I shouldn't have done it.
You're fine.
You got it. It's just Topper.
There we go. Easy peasy.
Yeah, it's not like in Bowser Kingdom Topper. That one is a legitimate threat, for sure.
Yeah.
There are strats, but yeah, you gotta be really precise with your strats for that one.
Even when you have the strats, he's very tedious, is the problem.
Yeah, there's a lot you have to keep track of on that one for sure.
It's all about, like, risk minimization, but you can never really fully remove it for a lot of these bosses. The best you can do is get the strategies that can minimize the risk of absolutely dying if you make a mistake. You want strats that can allow you to recover even if you fail the strat. That's the key to a good strat.
And our first Power Moon right here. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
Not really much to say about this one, just make sure you don't take damage to the chomp. But, does somebody want to explain this first trick I'm going to go for here? Dino Skip?
Yeah, it's a very easy trick. If you've ever seen a Mario Odyssey run, you've probably seen it. It's probably one of the first tricks people learn. Basically, instead of going up, there's an intended way through a 2D section where you're supposed to go up to get to the upper part of the level to face the Banana Brew boss fight. We just grab this dino and put him onto a trampoline. Because of the way the dino works, the trampoline bounces him really high. High enough that we can just uncapture and dive into the trigger for the Banana Brew boss fight. Skipping having to go up this whole section.
And then my damn brood, I am gonna be doing the speed strat for it just because that's what I'm most comfortable with. I timed that wrong, but that still works. I think. If I can pull this jump back, please. There we go. And then I'm gonna go over here to give myself a little bit more room. But yeah, just sandwiching the chomp between Cappy and Mario. Just like that. So I can get the faster fling there.
Nicely done.
Very well executed.
There is a slightly safer strat where you just do the casual strat and take some dampened around the arena, but I think that's safe enough.
Yeah, the thing about like earlier in the run, like if you're doing run after run after run, it's not necessarily a bad thing to take more risks earlier in the run just to get the run going. The further you get, though, definitely the safer you want to play. Especially if you're going to be going for like a 10-plus hour run, going for absolutely everything in the game. It can be the difference between stamina making and breaking the run.
Yeah.
Also, like a traditionally riskier strat that you're more comfortable with, it can sometimes be better than a safer strat that you don't have a lot of familiarity with. Because when you're unfamiliar with something, that's when the jank comes out. That's when, like, just the small details that you haven't experienced yet come out. And then you can often take damage trying to be safe with a strat that you haven't practiced.
Yeah, and I'm going to add on to that, like, while there is safety in muscle memory, ideally, if you're trying to actually make a significant dent in Damageless, your best bet is to really dig in and learn those strats so that you can get those to be muscle memory.
Yeah. There's definitely a safest way of doing just about everything in this game.
Yeah.
I would say...
I think that...
I would say at this point, Damageless Almond is just about solved. There is the safest way about going about just about everything.
Yeah, and if anyone is interested, all of the strategies are documented in a Damageless document. Are we allowed to shout out where to find that?
Yeah, it's just in the SMO Discord, I believe, right?
Yeah, SMO Discord, you can find in the speedrunning Discord, you can find it pinned in the Damageless channel.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, it's fine to shout out those things, by the way, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Do we have time for a couple of quick donations?
Yeah, go for it.
Sound. Right. I have found a bug, and this is a good thing. This is why we're trialing this, because bugs are very, very common in code that I've written myself. And the bug that I found is that donation messages don't go through. So I am going to be sorting that out. So we've got 2 donations. One of them was myself. I did notice a second bug, actually, because we did get a donation in from SuperGod451. A £20 donation, which doesn't have a donation message. If you're in the chat, SuperGod451, and you wanted to put a donation message, please stick it in the chat for me, and I will read that out from the chat. Unfortunately, it didn't go through to the database, which I don't know why that has happened, but I'm going to fix that immediately. And that was a £20 donation. It didn't go towards any incentives. So thank you very much for that donation. And I also put a £10 donation in as well. I did put a message in just to say good luck to everybody. As again, that message hasn't come through into the database, so I don't actually remember what I wrote, which is fine. But that was a £10 donation, but it goes towards the language choice in the Ratchet and Clank... in the Ratchet Deadlocked run, which is later on, which I've chosen French, and I've also, for your run, I've said I want Mario to wear the boxer shorts. But that's only £10 out of the £50 that we've got so far.
Okay.
So thank you for those donations. We will, if anyone else wants to donate, ! donate in the chat. I will fix the donation message very quickly.
Okay, what I'm doing right now is IP clip. I think this is the most consistent way of just strictly getting peace, if that's your goal. So I'm going to be doing that, just doing a roll cancel clip to clip through the door there. And that lets me skip over doing the round tower and the shards in this kingdom.
Yeah, one of only a couple story sequence breaks that exist. Well, one of only 2 story sequence breaks that really exist.
In one player.
Yes, in one player. In what that is relevant to what we're doing now.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yep. You'll also see another sequence break in snow, but that'll be much later on the run.
Yeah, that clip scares me a lot more.
Which one do you go for?
I'm gonna go for downstairs.
Same.
It wasn't too bad in practice last week, so let's just hope it goes well. But I'm hoping I just get the wing clip and don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, you'll be fine. All but 1 coin.
Yeah. It's always, I never get all of them there.
I think I've got all of them like once, and it was glorious.
I'm supposed to capture a bill here, but
Never again.
too late now. Kinda forgot. That works too, though.
Oh, right. We were talking about, I was going to say, I think the biggest thing that I see from new Damageless runners is they'll have run any % for a while, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, I could just do Damageless, take like 6 attempts or something. And, no, it's a very different run, with a lot of different priorities. And you really have to like kind of dig into it and learn, different strats.
To be fair, if you're top level, you can, to an extent, get away with that approach. But yeah, it's not nearly as simple as all that.
Yeah, I mean, and you can do that approach. It probably will take more attempts to get to post game than it would if you just learn the strats. But you're more than welcome to do it, you know.
Yeah, I think Tyron got it in like 2 streams. He got like a 57.
I think it's a 58.
Absolutely insane.
I think it's a 58, but yeah.
You sure?
Right.
58?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But yeah.
Let me check on that. It might be.
Yeah. If only we could all be as good as Tyron.
I guess we're kind of just...
58-47, yeah. 58-47.
And I guess we kind of just glossed over Harriet there. Just kind of knocked the bombs back into her. Not really that hard of a boss fight.
Yeah. The Harriet, there's like kind of a fast strat for skipping the one part of a fight where she flies around, but it's really not like something that I mean, I feel like Harriet's the most approachable from a casual perspective because there's not like a specific trick that's a fast strat, unlike the other bosses.
Yeah, in Night Sand here, CheeseJay stayed to the right instead of going directly down the path because mummies would spawn in that path. And now that they're on the Jaxi, it's completely safe to go straight to the hole in the desert.
I believe that lip with the purples is completely safe. I don't think there's any mummies that spawn up there.
Correct, yeah.
I believe the way that it works is like it checks the spawn for mummies every certain amount of time, and then when you get to the ledge, it can't spawn them there, so it just doesn't spawn anything. Something like that.
Yeah, and there has to be like a certain amount of room for them to spawn as well. So if there's like a ledge, they're not gonna like spawn inside of a cliff.
Exactly.
And just right there, you're gonna do 2 shakes. I do 2 shakes and then a dive out of the Goombas there to grab that Goomba Moon. It's not the absolute safest, you can stack the Goombas, but that's just the way I've always done it. It's safe enough. Just for the reason that as long as you dive and grab the moon, you'll get your cap bounce back, and then from there you're pretty much safe. It's pretty hard to fail the cap bounce onto that platform. And now Knuckletech. This boss fight is probably the first actual difficult part of the run, I'd say.
There are certainly things to keep track of, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, Knuckletech, when I was just starting out with Damageless, was very intimidating. But once you get the practice in, he's not bad at all.
Yeah, just gonna have him break the ice and then throw Cappy to grab the fist immediately.
Yeah. And with the very first capture, it's easy enough to grab because there's a cutscene where the fist completely goes down onto the ground. With future ones, you want to make sure you're not throwing Cappy during the animation where the fist falls flat, because Cappy will not capture during that little animation, and the other fist can come over and snipe you. So you want to make sure you're either before or after that animation.
And then during this part, I just kind of dodged to the left here. There we go. And then I want to make sure I'm on this back wall so none of the ice hits me. And there is a clapping phase I forgot about. Yes, I just long jump. Easy enough. And then, like I said, back to the back wall so none of the ice hits me. And then... there we go. Easy peasy.
Nice job.
Very well done.
And now I just gotta grab the moon, and then we're on to Lake Kingdom. And Lake Kingdom is significantly shorter. We only have one boss there, which is Rango. And he's kind of a pushover.
Yeah.
All the riddles in this game aren't too bad.
Yeah, they can be more annoying than anything. I don't even really think they're hard. It's just obnoxious sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and this Rango is really the only Rango we're going to see in this entire run, because we will be skipping Ice Rango later in the run by doing a sequence break to get past the 4 rooms in Snow Kingdom.
Yeah, it's great too, because if you do the sequence break, the game just decides, oh, you must have beat Rango, and it just gives you the moon. It's great.
Yep. It's one of the first big difficult clips that I absolutely suggest beginners learn as soon as possible for Damageless. It is so useful for getting back just past Snow Kingdom in general. It's much safer just to do the world peace version with the clip rather than trying to go through the rooms and get enough moons.
Yeah, for sure.
And the biggest problem with the rooms is just because if you do get the post game, they spawn more moons in there, which means you have to go back into the rooms. Whereas if you just don't do the rooms in the first place, you could do them all at the same time, which, you know, considering that some of those rooms are pretty risky, you probably want to minimize that risk by putting them together.
Yep. And it also makes the rooms safer. For example, you have an extra Taifu in the purple goo room that you could just use to, like, fly around and grab everything you need later on, rather than earlier that Taifu was not available.
Yeah.
I think the only room that is actually harder is the Goomba stacking room, because there are more Goombas to stack.
But you're kind of...
Yes.
But yeah, you want to do it all in one pass instead of 2 passes.
Yeah.
You're kind
Because
of...
you need the... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, you're forced to stack all the Goombas for the second moon. Or, I guess the secret moon. Anyway,
Yep.
so...
Yeah, this is basically any percent for this kingdom.
Yeah.
At least, like, the older, not advanced any percent.
Yeah, this is still the exact route World Peace uses, so...
Yeah.
And this is also, like, everyone's beginner route for any percent is usually this route.
And I'm gonna go over to this platform over here with the flower, just because there's no Goombas in my way. Oh, I missed it.
If there's one thing Damageless doesn't like, is those tiny little yellow Goombas. Don't get near them. You know, you don't want to be anywhere near those guys, because you bonk or something around them, your run's over.
Yeah, and that route that way that they just jumped up is also the KFR route you're going to want to do. Just go around the back, hop up to that platform, and bounce your way to victory.
And then the speed strike here is the safest option, so that's what I'm doing. I thought I almost messed up that last hit. You can just kind of grab on right through Rango there, and throwing Cappy at the hat lets you get into a position for it safer. And now we're on to Wooded, which is definitely another scarier kingdom, for sure.
Yeah. Although the UFO boss fight is way easier than I think people would assume, just because there's a block that you can stand on to avoid most of the lasers, and you know, the mushroom one is the actual hard one. Well,
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, Spirit has a bad hitbox, but he's not too bad if you learn the safe strats.
Yeah. And luckily too, like most of the jumps where we have to jump over the void and wooded are over deep woods, except for a couple. So if we do happen to fall, there is a safety net there that doesn't exist in any other kingdom. It's the only one where you can fall into a void and not die. But hopefully we shouldn't be seeing deep woods today.
Yeah, I doubt it.
No. Very rare occurrence, but it does happen.
Oh, I missed the bunny. My bad. I can just go back and grab him right now, though. There we go. This is probably the easiest bunny to back up, so that's okay. And now we're going to be going over to this tucked away inside the tunnel moon. There is a fire bro here, but if you're fast, you don't really have to worry about him. Just go to the right there. And just for the style points, I am just going to clip through this wall here and then fall through.
Nice.
Very good, nut clip.
And then I'm going to be capturing this uproot so I can get up to this nut. And there is a fire bro up there, but as long as you don't like point your camera at him, it's not an issue. And from here, we're just going to be ignoring everything else because there's a lot of the other stuff here, or at least this red maze. Has an extra minute in it in post-game, so I'm just kind of dodging it for now.
Yeah, that guy right there is one of the examples where Deep Woods is directly below, so it is safe to jump over.
And I just like to go to the right, or the left of that plant there, and then home cap you into his mouth. That works out.
Yeah.
And that gap was basically the edge of Deep Woods, so anything past now will be death. If Mario falls.
Yeah. That's why I assume we're gonna take the roads here instead of if you've seen a speedrun before. There's a trick called FRS, which is a jump, but this is definitely not worth it for Damageless. It saves like a second or two, and it's just bad for Damageless runs.
And then I'm going to be going up here and capturing this uproot. You can skip this tower in like regular road piece runs, that's what you would see, but it's kind of a needless risk, so I'm just going to go in here and grab 2 mins. And then, if I can do it, I always suck at this trick. You can skip up there with the uproot. Just a little bit faster movement.
Using the mechanic where you shake the uproot to make him go higher. You can like shake it and it delays you go out. It's a weird mechanic.
And then Spirit here, just gonna be doing a jump on a cap throw, timed well to get on top of him there, knock off his hat, and then hit him at the same time.
I personally prefer backflips because you get a little extra height to get up past the bad hitbox. But yeah, if you're consistent, it shouldn't matter.
Showing casuals, speedruns and brutals, I always like to show Spirit because Spirit is the one that casuals struggle the most with. And then they watch the speedrun and he doesn't move at all. He doesn't have any poison spit. He just does nothing. They're like, what happened? I fought a different boss.
Yeah,
Like,
the speedrun makes this guy kind of look like a joke.
Rango's pretty fun too. You like literally bounce through him.
yeah, they're just like, what is happening?
That wasn't even the shot I learned originally. Back in 2018, we didn't know about that. That was a little bit of a later discovery, if I remember correctly.
So we're just gonna head to the upper section of Wooded now, And you did mention earlier about the Firebro not being on camera. We should probably talk about the fact that there is camera manipulation in terms of like things being loaded or unloaded in this game. Typically, if something's not on screen or your camera's not facing the direction, it won't move. It won't load in the same way. So there are times where that is very useful for a damage perspective because you can keep a damage source off camera and then they won't do any actions. So there's a little bit of tech that's useful in certain situations.
The room up to the right on the top of that slope is a good example of that as well. You can despawn like the fireballs if you keep them off screen.
Yeah.
But now we have a better, safer strat.
True.
Was it you, Luggager, that came up with that?
That was me. That was me. Yes.
Yeah. Like I liked my my camera manip strat, but yours is better.
There we go. Okay.
This is the thing about the great thing about Damageless with getting more runners is the more runners we have, the more ideas we have, and it's always there's probably still a lot to discover that we don't necessarily know. Like I think we've solved Damageless in terms of safe strats, but there's probably still optimizations to be found that we just haven't found yet.
Yeah, the more strats, the better. Honestly, you can never have strats that are too safe.
And now, Torque Drift. This is definitely another one of those harder bosses, kind of like Knuckle Attack, where if you don't know what you're doing, it's pretty easy to take a hit. But with their
one optimization is if you wait until these blocks shake a little bit before you bop them, then as you can see here, Torque Drift is not spinning.
I don't think they shake on that first phase though.
They don't
yeah,
shake
not
on
in the first phase,
yeah.
but coming up you'll see do a little shake. If you bop just after that shake, you can avoid them basically trying to have to hit a moving target.
Yeah, these are the great blocks that allow you to skip doing any work here.
I think
you just stand there.
I think either if you know how to jump over the lasers,
right here.
Yeah, I think if you know how to jump over the lasers, it's probably equally as safe as going up to the block. But yeah, I just prefer the block.
It's so much safer to just do the block. You're at no risk of taking damage from the lasers at all.
I mean, if you miss the jump, that would be like the only risk. But yeah, you have plenty of time to get it.
There's plenty of time to recover though. Even if you miss it once, it should be fine. The only real risk is there is a glitch that can cause Mario to clip through the floor and just fall into oblivion. But it's pretty rare.
I've never heard of that.
It can be recovered if you're aware of it.
Yeah, it happened to Tippy in Almonds, I believe. I think it's where we first saw it.
Yeah, and I think as long as you're standing still, you minimize that risk. I think it's moving around while bopping that may be part of it, but we still don't fully understand why it happens.
I think it's momentum based. That would be my guess.
Yeah, that would be my guess too. Like if you stand still, then you should be fine.
I've never encountered it in speedruns or Damageless. It's like super rare.
I mean, there are some things in the game where you can prepare for them, but there's some things in the game where, like, if it happens, it's a 1 in a million or whatever, and you just kind of accept it and move on. Like, I imagine if you like accidentally seam clipped at some point, which I think it's like every corner in the game you can clip through if you're on the right pixel.
Yeah.
So if you just unluckily happen to seam clip somewhere and you died from it, that's just kind of like bad luck. I mean, what are you gonna do?
I think it quite literally is like pixel tight.
Yeah, at that point, just clip it, post it online, and get lots of clout for killing a Damageless run. That's like your only recourse at that point.
Yeah, because there's just so much slight jank in this game that is so rare, but it does happen.
Another good example is Rango on Dark Side. He can actually throw his hat before he throws his hat, so you'll get hit by an invisible hitbox before he actually throws his hat out. And it's pretty funny.
I think
you're just standing there and you get hit, and then he throws his hat at you.
I think I've only ever had that happen to me in practice.
Me too, luckily, yeah. It is less rare, though, than the torque drift clip. It does happen.
I think I've only ever had it happen once.
Yeah, I think I've had it happen a couple of times to me.
I've never had it happen, only because I learned the strats that you suggested, where you jump out of the way, so that even if it does happen, it won't matter.
Well, even then, like, you'll get hit before you jump out of the way, so you kind of want to be moving slightly to avoid getting hit by the invisible hat, or jump like earlier. It's kind of awkward. Like, I'm not sure what you would do to avoid being hit by the invisible hat, other than be aware of it and like jump out of the way literally to nothing every single time. It's not really ideal or reasonable to do.
So, yeah, you know,
Take your hits, move on, I guess.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you just gotta accept that you're not gonna get the Damageless run, like just because it is jank.
Yeah, the game can and will find brand new ways to kill you.
I think I'm gonna do meme tree here.
Oh,
I'm not gonna save Cappy.
show off the cage. That's the safer way. So much safer than meme tree.
Okay, I can do the cage.
So,
I'm worried about jumping
Going
around.
A lot
over
of
the
people-
cage. This is the earlier trick that we did before meme tree was discovered, and it's so much safer for Damageless to skip the trigger for Klepto.
That part right there is what I was worried about.
I
but
remember,
it's okay.
I remember explaining to an any percent runner that if they died in the middle of the any percent route, it's actually faster to do cage clip if you're going back up to. And they're like, "What's cage clip?" I'm like, "Oh gosh."
Yeah, if you do meme tree and you fail, your only recourse at that point is to poison warp. If Mario lands in poison, you have a 1-frame window to pull up the map, and you can actually warp away on poison if it's like the very first frame Mario touches poison. Otherwise, you die.
You might have heard of poison warp, because it's a 1-frame trick if you want to do it without taking damage. If you just want to warp off the poison, you can actually warp after Mario dies, but that's not going to help you in a Damageless run. So
Yeah,
it's
Mario
not
will warp, land, and then just die. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. So it for the Damageless version, it is frame perfect. So
I'm gonna show up.
Hail Mary.
I'm gonna show off something cool here. A recent discovery. No! God dang it! There's a.
Why wouldn't you duck there?
Because there's a spot. There's a spot right here. I was barely off. There we go. That's what I was trying to do.
So the safe strat right there that Jay did not do is to just duck. You can stand wherever and just duck, and the torpedo will always go over you as long as you're not like on a slope. I don't know why they didn't duck there,
Because
but ducking would be the safe strat.
If you stand in that spot and duck, the torpedo won't hit the block, I don't think.
What? Ducking throws off the angle? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
I first heard of this, and I don't believe you.
I
Call
believe.
you out right now.
hold on, I need to break this block.
I believe that what CheeseJay was taking advantage of there
It's
is
camera
that,
manipulation. Yep.
camera manipulation to deload that first block,
Yep.
or unload is probably the better term.
It's the same thing you
to-
do with reverse
yeah.
torpedo, except you don't have to do the hard part.
And you're saying ducking makes the trick not work?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know about that.
I've never tried it with ducking,
Like,
but I would assume
you didn't. Okay, yeah. If the camera's in exactly the same spot, there's no way that ducking versus not ducking is gonna make a difference. If it's a camera manip. Yeah. So always duck. Always, always, always duck. No
Okay.
matter what. If you think you're completely safe, always 100% of the time duck.
I was slightly off there, I think. Just like barely.
It's a needless risk to stand there and be like, oh yes, I am not going to get hit.
Yeah, I didn't think I would, but there we are. Still learning new stuff with this game. I guess I haven't done that trick that many times. That's something.
Joys
There's
of running
the-
Damageless.
That's something
I-
new I
I
added
think-
in.
For Metro Peace, there's not a ton to talk about because we already have to do Mecha Wiggler, and then the only other thing that's kind of risky is going through Sewer Room or doing Sewer Clip. I don't know which one you do. Jay, do you do Sewer Clip?
No, you can't do a circle and damageless in the first visit because you'll land in the poison.
From what I've seen,
No, I
I've
just
talked to
sewer
people
clip
that
in
say
every
sewer
run.
clip is absolutely 100% safe. But I've managed. I tested it out, and I was able to get Mario to bonk off of the platform, so I don't even try sewer
But
clip.
what
But I
CheeseJay's
mean,
talking
I
about
was
is
trying to get hit.
It's in-
Yeah, going
af-
through the wall, and there's poison there.
Yeah, if you
but
But
because
the poison
of the
gets
way
cleared.
because
Yeah.
of the way the clip works, the poison always gets cleared because your hat goes through the wall first.
I've taken
so-
damage immediately after clipping before. I know that is the thing I have done.
Yeah, I've done it maybe in every single Damageless run that I've ever done. So probably about 40 times. I've never experienced it. It's pretty rare if it is a thing that happens. I think as long as you go stick
die.
neutral, you
Oh,
should be
Cappy.
okay.
Cappy. I hate Cappy in this game. Okay.
Yeah, the Night Metro and the climb here and the
There we go. Okay, he's
the
dead.
Mecha Wiggler fight is really the most danger in this kingdom for any percent at least. And once you get to Day Metro, it's completely free, except for World Peace. Then it becomes going through the sewer and doing the festival. Festival, there are only a couple of spots that really can get you. As long as you're paying attention, it's not too bad.
Yeah. But most of the Day Metro part is very free. You're on this big section of the map. There's not really a lot of holes. There's almost no enemies. In fact, I think there is no enemies for damage sources. So it's a very safe area, especially when you're first starting out in Damageless. It's kind of like a nice break after you come from Lost and before you go to Snow and Seaside and the latter half of the kingdom, which typically does tend to be the hardest. Not much to say with the Mecha Leader boss fight. We know any percent strats where you like wedge yourself into the corner because the hitbox can be jank.
Yeah, there are tricks to minimize and mitigate those risks, even with the fast strats, but it's kind of awkward, and we haven't fully tested. Like, you can like park yourself right next to what appears to be a house on the wall, but yeah, more testing is needed. And there are two approaches really to these orbs. You can either shoot them all, or you can dodge them all. I opt for dodging personally.
I do a mix of both there. I shoot 4 and then dodge 1 because it lets me get more shots on this guy here.
Yeah, it's all about what you're comfortable with. I personally shoot all of them, and then if I 3-cycle, I 3-cycle. That's fine with me. Most of the time I 2-cycle, but a 3-cycle is no less really safe than a 2-cycle because it's the same cycle.
Yeah. The only reason I don't shoot is because when you shoot, the tank kind of gets like stiffened up and won't move for like a quarter of like a half second, whole second maybe, after each shot. So like if you shoot and you miss, then you have to wait until the tank can move again to move again, or you can uncapture. And uncapturing can save a run. If you just keep that in mind, if you're about to get hit, uncapture the tank and you can save the run. But dodging is so much easier. Just slowly, you start from one side and you slowly dodge to the right, all the balls, and then you can shoot. And yeah, you don't get like stuck in
What
a
CheeseJay
lockup.
what CheeseJay just did there with the moon is called a dram. We don't do a lot of them in this run.
Yeah, that's the second one I did.
Yeah.
One in sand and
Which
then one
was
here.
the first one?
One in sand.
Sand Kingdom. Actual, real first dram, right?
Yeah, that's the first one that was ever discovered.
Yeah. Also known as a capture warp.
Yeah, just throw Cappy out and then you can home him in right before you grab the moon, and then you'll teleport after the moon grab.
It can be kind of confusing because there are a lot of different tricks called dram that are all very different. Like, you might have heard of snow dram, which is not a capture, what does you call it? Capture
warp.
Yeah, capture warp is not that. I think it was just a bit of a meme. So
yeah,
there are several things called dram.
It's because the creator of the trick Dram 55 didn't want the trick to be named after him, so the community started naming all the tricks after him. But yeah, Day Metro is completely safe. Just going around and collecting musicians right now. The only danger is Festival.
feel like a lot of people get intimidated with Damageless. They feel like it's not approachable and that it's like really stressful. But I feel like for me at least, it's more like one of the more casual runs, to be honest, because you can take your time, you can go slowly, you can choose whatever route you want, you can just go around and like take things easy. It's a nice break from like speed running, which can be stressful because you always have to go with the fastest route possible and not mess up any of the tricks.
Yeah, for me, I think Damage is a much more relaxing run because you can take breaks, you can stop at any time if you want. So it's definitely like more like, oh hey, I'm gonna be doing some things on and off this afternoon, but I'll start a Damageless run and do it in between. Like that's you can't do that with a speedrun. A speedrun needs to be your full focus. So I think
I don't need
for me at least, it's just a lot more friendly.
Yeah, I especially like that the leaderboard is actually set up based on moon count instead of time. So even if you get like a low count, you can still place higher than other people on the board. So it's fully competitive, fully throughout the entire amount of moons in the run. The only rule regarding the moons is they have to be banked into the Odyssey in order to count.
Yeah, I will say though, if you are going for all of them, taking breaks is an option, but it does have to be like one continuous video, so that can make taking breaks a little bit harder. I mean, like a couple minutes here and there won't hurt anything, but if you're like getting sleep breaks, that can be a little bit difficult with keeping the video continuous.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you're doing.
And as far as timing, like only at top level, only once you get 880 moons does it become about time specifically. So the top runs are ranked. Only five completers are on the board, and they're ranked by time at top level.
There's been
I'll get there one day.
There's been no one since me, right? I'm still the last one.
I believe so. Yeah. First was Tippy, and then was Fur, and then was me, and then was Wales, and then was you.
I really can't believe Wales got it as quickly as he did. Like, that's completely shocking.
Yeah, well, Wales was doing, like, offline runs, like, all day, every day, for, like, a month.
He was, like...
Which certainly helps.
He was, like, Fur, but just with no experience going in somehow. And still did it in the same amount of time Fur did.
Yeah. So, Jay, do you have any plans to come back for 100%? Right now, only 2 people, myself and Fur, have done 100% Damageless.
Maybe eventually. Maybe in the summer.
Okay.
Because,
yeah, I would be totally down to watch that.
I still don't know what my plans are for streaming in the summer. We'll see when I get there, what I decide I want to do.
Yeah, I'll get 880 someday. I'm close, but I just need to grind out more runs.
Yeah. Didn't you, like break your ankle? Or
I did.
Like,
That's why my damage was. I went from like not having beaten the game damages to getting the 778 in like 2 months because my ankle was broken. I couldn't work. I really couldn't do anything. I couldn't leave the house. So I just was at home. So I just decided to grind out damages during that time.
I assume that's also why you've been like not running it as frequently.
Yeah, because now I'm back to work. So lot less time, unfortunately. Wish I had more time to do Damageless runs. I really enjoy them, but it does mean that like if I do get a PB, it's probably gonna be like some ridiculous amount of time, like 40-hour plus recording. If I had to guess, because I will be taking multiple breaks. So
yeah, that's fair.
I mean, the first one was already so unwieldy. The 29 hour. I felt bad for the moderators. Like these.
I can't imagine they would have to watch every single moment of every single break of like, because like if you put Mario into a very unique position, and then you let the recording run, you can clearly see that Mario's in the same position 5-10 minutes later, 2 hours later.
They don't have to watch
later.
the breaks. And as far as I understand, the typical practice is to watch the video at about 16x speed. So you can see if someone takes damage then, because it's pretty obvious.
And to be fair, take what we're saying with a grain of salt. Neither of us are moderators of the leader.
Hotfix like 2 years ago.
Which leaderboards?
The mod percent leaderboards where you have hyperspeed and moon jump. The coolest
you need a
category.
specific version of a specific mod enabled.
Yeah, it's really weird.
And it's like an entirely separate leaderboard. Completely
about
unrelated to the main or the category.
It was actually pretty big back in the day when me and Dan the Man were running it. It wasn't a ton of runners, but it got a lot of viewers on YouTube. That was back when I used to stream on YouTube. That's how long ago it was. Yeah, it actually was pretty big then. And it's actually kind of funny because my any percent PB now is like 2 minutes faster than my mod percent PB.
Here we are coming into Snow Kingdom, where we're gonna do the snow clip coming up here pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And this skips all 4 of the rooms, so we can go straight outside and get some easy, safe stuff to make up for the deficit that we'll have.
Oh, come on.
Is
Oh wait, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Nintendo is a little bit too smart. They prevented a lot of the sequence breaks in the game, so there aren't very many. I wish there was more sequence breaks in this game. But yeah, there's a couple of them.
What was that diving I just got?
Yeah. This is one of those things where if you don't play this game, you might not know this, but
that was a valid
diving
dive. Yeah.
and cap throws and angles are very awkward. There is like delay between when Mario will change angles for a dive, and so a lot of the time you have to like wait a certain amount of time in order to be able to change the angle. Usually throwing your cap will just set that angle, but not always.
There we go.
It can be very janky.
Nice.
I will take
So
that.
second try
right
downstairs.
You're basically just gonna walk straight into the step and then go directly to the right into the wall, and then do a roll cancel clip, neutral.
Yeah.
And that's basically the setup. It's a pretty easy setup. You just want to make sure you're good at roll cancels.
That was actually first try with the correct setup. Was the first time I was holding an angle during the roll cancel, and that's why I failed it.
Oh.
Yeah. Downstairs generally is considered not good for speedruns. I think it's very good for Damageless.
Yeah.
The reason it's not considered good for speedruns is because it's not incredibly consistent.
Yeah, I just got lucky.
Yeah. Even like if you're really good at roll cancels, there can be times where you just can't get the clip. So
there are easier clips, yeah, but it's closer to the
yeah,
limits,
that's
so it's easier
exactly. It's really good for Damageless because it's not hard to get into the loading zone.
I will say it is. I would say personally, it's worth loading the main clip as well and giving that one try, because I don't think it has much extra risk over downstairs. And if you get it, it's like if you get the timing down for that, it's definitely more consistent than downstairs.
Yeah,
for sure.
The only other safe, like one that might be considered safer, is screen clip. There's a clip where you can clip through on the left side of the screen on a slight slope there. I'm not sure exactly how to do it myself because I never bothered to learn it because I learned the step. But it's
basically it's not stick neutral. it's one of those ones where you have to hold to the right.
Yeah.
And it can be like it is closer to the loading zone, yes, but you definitely have to be more aware of like where you are. If you do downstairs, a lot of the time it will just send you straight into the loading zone. Whereas if you do screen, you kind of have to push yourself at the loading zone a lot of the time.
Really
because
quick note on this bound bowl is impossible to take damage in bound bowl. Completely impossible.
yeah, you'd think you could fall in those holes, but you can't. If you go close to them, the game will just respawn you on the track. It's actually super safe.
I think it is. I think it is.
Impossible.
I think it's the only place in the game where you're completely safe.
Yeah, I tested extensively and I could not find a single way to take damage in that area.
Yeah, that and then the what do you call it? The shiver burn, or what's the other one? The ice burn. I don't know the name.
The Iceburn Circuit. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know the name of the other one. Okay. Yeah, that one. That would be the only other place I would think that you're completely safe. And now we're just going to be grabbing safe moons. We're going to be getting the fruits of our labor here. There's pretty much no risk here for this back. I would say snow. I would say argue snow is probably safer than cap with the right setups and strategies for Damageless.
Yeah. Definitely if you do clips. If you don't do clips, then snow can be pretty risky.
Yeah. But yeah, with the clips, this is probably the safest kingdom. Like this and Dametro, you kind of have to go out of your way to take a hit.
Unfortunately, like for beginners, like you can't just do the snow roll cancel clips. You have to practice them. They are pretty annoying, and you have to get good at roll cancel clips as general. It's not a surface clip. Surface clips are generally the easiest roll cancel clips in this game. Unfortunately, there's no surface clip in snow, so it is a straight roll cancel clip, which is much harder.
Yeah, if you're gonna learn Damageless, I would say before doing runs, just get good at roll cancels. It's just gonna benefit you. And I'm gonna do Snow Jam here just because it's stylish and it's faster.
Yes, this is the other trick that's called Dram. Pretty much, I think this is one of the more well-known tricks. That's called Dram.
Nice.
Very, very tight jump. That one. Just barely possible. Nice with the RCB.
Yep. That is actually
Coming up here is Seaside, and it's another one that can have some low-level danger everywhere you go, but isn't too bad if you follow the a nice. There are nice safe routing options for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing something that looks kind of completely different to what you would see in a regular World Peace speedrun, and I'm gonna be doing a second lap around the kingdom to hit all the buttons. That way I don't have to deal with the danger of the bombs while I'm traversing the kingdom. But before we do that, I'm going to be grabbing one quick and safe moon here in the pipe here, just because I need an extra to leave. So I'm going to be grabbing this pipe moon here in the rumble room.
I'm going to step away very briefly. I'll be right back.
Sure.
And after this, I'm going to be going up to the stone pillar seal. And I have a specific way I like to capture Gushins. I like to make sure that I'm not in the way when I really spray, because that could definitely be a way to take damage. So I kind of just use momentum and do a jump and then cap throw just like that. And then I'm going to drop that Gushin off on that ledge there so he's still there after the storm in. And I'm going to do the same thing with the lighthouse as well.
Yeah, we just want to avoid the middle guy spraying all this rocks and stuff around the kingdom, because they're pretty random and hard to predict, and they could just hit you. Oh, did you drop it off the fence?
Nope, right there. I mean, you could. The fence would be a time save, but I never bother with that.
Yeah.
That would be like a second time save or so to drop it up to do that.
I always do these two last, and then I drop them off on the fence, and go back for the pillar seal. So I always do the pillar seal first, but it doesn't really matter. Just as long as you're doing that second lap to make sure you're not taking damage.
Okay, this part's a little bit scary. go. Yeah, if you spray close to the water, you'll get a bigger spray out of the gushing, and you'll clear more, so you have a safer area to land.
Yeah. As long as you go above the lava, spray directly down, and don't touch the stick at all, you will land in the water and be fine. It's a scary looking one. I think it's a lot safer than it would look as long as you know your strats.
And I'm gonna warp to the Odyssey here after grabbing that checkpoint.
Yeah, I always go for the button that does not have a checkpoint next to it as the first one I grab, because I can't warp to it afterward, and all the others I can warp to after that.
And now we're gonna be going to overlooking here to kind of refill my water so I can get over to this above the canyon seal here.
Gushions are very much they're very useful in Seaside in general, just because they allow you to gain so much height. As soon as you land with a Gushion, you then have a new max height that you can use. Is how you can get to like painting platform early. Like there's a bunch of stuff with it, and skipping the section where you have to go through the cave and there's a bunch of rock shooting to get up here to get this moon. It's very useful for that kind of a thing.
Yep, and that campfire right next to Toad is actually where Tippy decided to take damage on her 880. It is a tradition. Once you get the 880, you get to choose where in the game you want to go and take damage.
I did not get that choice.
No, because it's also tradition to do the refight. The refight with Bowser is not technically part of Damageless 880. It is part of all Moon's runs, but is not part of Damageless 880. Once you bank the final 880th Moon, the run is done. But tradition says that you do the rematch as a victory lap. And CheeseJay took damage on the rematch.
Yeah, I was 14 hours deep, very tired, and very nervous.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I chose to drown Mario in the frog room in Cap. Because it takes a ridiculous amount of time before first damage. And there's barely enough water to do that.
Mine would have taken longer. The place I had in mind, I don't know if you remember it.
The frog in Deep Woods?
No, I was gonna remember.
Or not the frog, but the
Coin coffer.
The coin coffer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the word.
I think that would have taken longer.
I won $10 for that. Because the coin coffer does not actually inflict damage.
Yeah, for the longest.
Jay bet me $10 that there was no way to take damage.
Because for the longest time, everybody thought it did, and they would be like going out of their way to avoid it.
Yeah.
There was just a false rumor that guy could damage you, but it's just not true.
I did manage to find a way though, and I got $10 for it.
But yeah, Mollusk. We're just kind of trailing behind this guy, or I guess, yeah, letting this guy lead the way. I got purples.
Yeah, Mollusk will actually stop at key points in this fight, and those are the points that you want to go and do your attacks. You just kind of trail and lead Mollusk to where he'll stop.
Little optimization, you can fly through that point there just to refill your water for extra safety. You probably don't need it, but that's what I've been doing recently.
Yeah.
And then the age-old debate right here with me and Dan coming up. Right after.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna ground pound to kill this guy, but you can let him fly all the way back to the lighthouse. I think both are probably equally as safe if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I would say there's no reason to ever uncapture in this fight. And uncapturing to do a ground pound might sound like a good idea because it makes the fight end quicker. But if you miss, you're basically in the water without a capture, and where do you go from there? You can technically, potentially recover, but it's a lot harder, and it's a needless risk. That's my stance on it.
Yeah, I mean, I have recovered it before, but yeah.
there are little things like that. It really just depends on what you're comfortable with. You know, if a strat's gonna work 99 out of 100 times, is that worth it? And if it's higher than that, like, does it matter?
I don't think I personally don't think I've ever killed a run to doing that. I can't recall a time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and whether or not I kill a run, if I have determined that it's technically less safe, then I prefer to do the safer thing, personally.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. It's just, I come from a speedrun background, so I have the muscle memory to do it, and I think the window for getting the ground pound is way big enough to get it every single time.
And to go along with that as well, there is something to be said about stamina. If you can get through in 13 hours instead of 15 hours, that is less toll on you for what comes later.
And that's definitely, it's not like I'm only saving a couple seconds there. That's probably at least, I would say, a 20 or 30 second time save by doing that.
Yeah, time definitely does add up for stuff like that.
Yeah, Damageless is an endurance run, so you have to keep up. You know, your brain. You have to keep up thinking. You have to focus. You have to stay focused and not get distracted. So it's, you know, any time say that you can do that maybe makes that a little bit shorter, definitely works. But that's also why, like, I think you want to take breaks as well, just to refresh your mental, like, focus and everything. Definitely helps you maybe not take damage in places as long as you're paying attention. Because I think the easiest way to take damage is to just lose focus for a second and then you just take damage somewhere stupid, and then your run's over.
Dan knows all about that.
Yep. Yep.
And then, I guess, little optimization.
Can and will find unique ways to just ruin your run.
In little optimization, I kind of just want to mention there, if you ground pound and then, hold on, let me focus this over here. If you ground pound and then wall jump up like that, you're not over any lava at any point, so you can get up to spirit safely from that moon.
And if you wait until later in the run even to grab that, you can up throw to capture Goomba that's up on that roof as well, so you don't even have to wall jump up.
Yeah.
Or you can just warp away, because you don't need to actually go to spew it from there.
Yeah, I personally like grabbing it there, because I don't think there's any risk with what I just did there.
I mean, there's not, until we get to Cookie Hill, there's not a ton of, you know, to talk about, other than the fact that there's a ton of lava in this kingdom. So if you ever fall off anywhere or fail any jumps, your run's, like, unless you lava warp, your run's just over. So lunch is definitely one of the more stressful kingdoms because there is so much sources of damage everywhere. And
most of where you go in the lava, though, you can be a Kotobo. So,
yeah,
unless you uncapture, it's pretty safe in that regard. But yeah, whenever I'm in lava or like flying as a Goomba, a Paragoomba over Death Plane, I always have my fingers, my index fingers straight out so I don't accidentally press the Z buttons. That's my safety net.
Which can be easy to do if you're shaking the controller to be accidentally press Z and uncapture. With the Paragoomba, shaking makes you go faster. Kotobu, same thing. So
yeah, I've killed multiple good runs to accidentally uncapturing when it is unsafe to do so.
That, by the way, right there, that movement I did is the safest way of grabbing that Jen and Crag moon, other than like using the cannon, I'd say. But yeah, if you want to use Mario and be a little bit faster with it, that's the safest way of doing it. There's no risk. You just have to be good at timing your cap bounces and getting the maximum height out of everything. Then this little bugger is annoying. I hate him. Okay, good.
So yeah, Jay, capturing the Pambro and then using it to kill everything, while out of reach of their pans and the spikies. So it's a good safe shot.
No fart bean.
Oh, I forgot about fart
What are
bean.
you doing?
I completely forgot that was a thing.
Fart bean.
I forgot that was a thing.
So if you, that bean that Jay just ran past, if you kick it just as you long jump, Mario will do the kick animation and then be mid-air when the long jump animation kicks in, and it'll look like Mario is farting because then the dust comes out. So I refer to that as fart bean.
Do I?
Coming up here, this
No, I don't. Okay, that's right.
the
Yeah.
spire in the middle we're gonna skip because there's a spiny there. That spiny is not present later, so it's actually safer to get that spire later in the run when that spiny is not present.
There we go. I like to grab this moon now. You can grab it after the meat and drop down, but I just have the muscle memory from doing it that way, so that's what I do.
Yeah, I prefer to go up, grab the checkpoint, and then jump down, so I can just warp straight back up.
So, I mean, Cookie Teal, there's going to be a lot to talk about. Cookie Teal's a very, very complicated fight.
Sorry, real quick with that, you want to make sure you don't jump immediately after landing on that meat, because you can get a first frame jump, and you will not get a cappy bounce if you jump immediately. Sorry,
Yeah.
didn't mean to cut you off there, but...
No, it's all good. I mean, getting first framed is constantly a risk in Damageless. A lot of places it won't kill you, but there are definitely places it can kill you if you're not being risky. Just because you can land, and if you land on the first frame and jump, you do not get your cap bounce refresh. So when you try to cap bounce, you'll just go through cappy and die. Very sad way to kill a run if it happens.
Yeah, I always get scared whenever I do a double jump too fast in this game, because that's when it's going to happen, is if you double jump. It's going to be out of a double jump, I believe. Other than right there with the meat, I think. But I think most other places is if you get a double jump too fast is when it's going to happen.
You can also do it off of buffered inputs as well. Like if you're landing after a big jump and you accidentally buffer a jump, that will jump on the first frame. So I don't even think it's just double jump. I think it's any jump in the game if you're landing after a cap bounce. So yeah, it's just the fun jank in this game.
I like to grab that moon right now because I think it's the safest way to entering the cave as well.
I agree with CheeseJay on that one.
It lets you dodge the lava the easiest. Maybe for one more, I think.
Yeah.
Dodge.
Cookateel is a really interesting part of World Peace. This room is not particularly dangerous.
Yeah.
It's kind of just whatever.
Oh, I screwed up. Hold on. I'm trying not... Okay. I am on a really bad cycle right now. I just have to wait.
Like, even this, like, this is the worst case scenario for this room, and we're not taking damage, so why do we care? You know, like...
On the climb up, there are logs, but if you don't jump as a Podobo, the logs won't actually uncapture Mario unless they come up from underneath you at the very end. That's like the only way. If you don't jump, you're safe, other than that very end.
Cookateo. There's a climb. I'm going to do the casual strat for the climb, I think. I'm going to be getting an extra... No, I'm not. Okay, we're good. Yeah, I'm going to be doing the casual strat for the climb here.
Yeah, a lot of people go for the skip that is used in KFR. And while Damageless, it's safe to do the skip in KFR because you can reset if you fail. If you're not in KFR and you fail the skip, you're falling to the lava.
Yeah, the only safe strat at that point is lava warp, and that's very rare.
That's just
like,
a recovery. That's not a safe strat. That's a recovery.
That's not. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like the only recourse that you have at that point is lava warp, and you never want to be in a situation where you have to lava warp or the run's dead, because that's basically like Hail Mary. I'm desperate, like to save my run.
Yeah.
I can't tell you
It's
how...
not something you can do consistently.
I can't tell you how many times I've saved a run with poison or lava warps, though. There's a run where I think I... What? Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say I've only saved one, but you've saved multiple.
There was a run where I did it twice in a run. In, like...
Wow.
Man.
It was twice in the same kingdom. Twice and lost.
I did a lot of a warp once, and then got my damage added immediately after.
Okay.
And so I was like, after the first frame.
Cookatail, this
So
is
this boss
the
is
pain in the butt.
What we're gonna do here is stay 1.5 to 2 lengths ahead of Cookatail, or Cookatail, yeah, Cookatail.
talking to. Yep.
And that will
Yeah,
cause
this is
Cookatail's
Talkative.
view to always go behind Mario, because Cookatail's always trying to hit Mario, and you're always outrunning the fruit. That's the kind of the concept behind this this trailing strategy here.
I think of all the boss fights, not including mushroom refights, this is definitely the hardest. I'd say
Yeah.
Bowser's and Ruined are much easier. In the
Okay.
hardest refight is this refight. So
Yeah,
Cookatail is just the hardest boss.
Cookatail rematch is undoubtedly the hardest part of the run. Like, undoubtedly. I don't think there's a question.
Yeah.
Well, Yoshi Rising Lava, the Yoshi Dark Side sub-area, is definitely the hardest sub-area, but I don't think it comes closer to a Cookatail rematch.
Yeah, and even then, there are strategies to minimize risk with those areas.
Yeah, I think I can get...
Because there's still a lot to keep track of in those areas, so there's still inherent risk.
I
Yeah,
definitely...
there's always strats, but sometimes it's not about the strats, it's just about how hard it is to.
There are
And
definitely...
sometimes
Whenever there's RNG
Oh my
involved,
God,
there's
oh.
only so much you can do. Yeah.
Oh my god,
Like,
I
as you
didn't...
can see,
Ready
like,
for stuff like that with the RNG.
yeah,
You can
that
minimize it, but you
happens.
can't completely eliminate it.
This is the part I had the most trouble with last time in practice. Okay, I think I'm okay here if I don't get invisible. Maybe not. Okay. There we go.
Nice. Nice
Yeah,
job.
that third phase is definitely the most awkward. I think, like for me, like first two phases, I feel like I have down with Cookatail. Third phase, sometimes you will just take damage in a stupid way. It's
Yeah. Another thing to mention with this one is if you climb too quickly on any of those phases, you can actually get invisible walled and get hit by nothing. Literally nothing. The invisible fruit will hit you if you climb too quickly.
I believe
on
it's...
any of those phases.
I believe the reason for that is because the first fruit, before Cookatail spews it out, the hitbox is above its head for some reason.
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
really weird. The first fruit, before he spews it out of his mouth, is just... The hitbox is just above his head. Because I guess the developers had nowhere else to put it, so if you're too fast, you'll get hit by that hitbox. I think that's... I mean, I have nothing to back that up, but that's the only theory that I could really come up with.
Now we're heading to Ruined, which is, from a casual perspective, very intimidating, but from a damage perspective, very easy.
If you know the strat, and if you do the strat, and if you trust the strat. So many people either don't know the strat or don't trust the strat.
Yeah, like
And-
when you're coming into Damageless Ruined, it's intimidating. Once you have practiced the Damageless Ruined, you can do Ruined in your sleep. It's so easy. Do you do the walk?
Yep.
CheeseJay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We'll
there's
talk about the
another.
walk.
Yeah, there's another strat where people tend to think that wall stalls are safe, but those can fail, and if they fail, you're falling into the line of fire, and they are not safe. Full stop, they're not safe. It might work until they don't, but the walking is safe. And the walking strat is what CheeseJay will be showing off here.
There are two things. I don't want to hit that, that's right. I want to keep this bump alive, it's a visual cue, and then I like to hit this toad as well for your visual cue for phase 3, because I think it makes it a little bit safer, and it gives me coins.
Yeah, just simple walks to dodge these rollers here.
They're
And then
very
you stand in specific points, and you can just jump simply and safely over all of these things.
This is the intimidating, but like, you know, when you have those rings coming at you, you just walk out of the way. It feels intimidating when you are just learning the run, but they are actually pretty slow moving.
Yeah, and once they spawn, they're locked into their trajectory,
Yeah.
and they can't. I mean, they can only move so much to try to go after you. And for this third phase coming up here, what Jay's going to do is go all the way back to the back wall, dead center, and as soon as the first ring passes the visual cue of Toad there, Jay's going to start walking left.
I think that was early, but that still works.
Oh, that'll still work. It's pretty forgiving.
I think I do it earlier than when you say there. Actually, I do it before it hits Toad. But
Yeah, there's like, yeah, leeway.
It's pretty.
You can do
pretty
before
lenient.
or after.
I have a different visual cue that I use, which ends up being the same. I just wait for when the dragon's head passes about the middle. It ends up being about the same. There's a couple of visual cues that you can use for setup. But yeah, you just walk, and it definitely, like, the first time you try it, you're like, there's no way this works, but it does work. Very bizarre that it works, but it does work.
Yeah, that's probably one of my one of the strats I'm most proud of, because it completely trivializes the fight that I've come up with. Another one is Spewered and Darkside. I love the strat that I came up with for that.
I also love your strat for Spirit and Darkside. I think it's genius. Just backflipping. It's great.
It's also one that I think took me the longest to figure out. But then, yeah, it's trivial now.
So now we're coming into Bowser's, which I would say maybe Bowser's could be considered the second hardest kingdom behind Luncheon. I definitely think Luncheon's pretty hard. Well, as long as you're not including Mushroom.
There are definitely a few pain points in Bowser's.
yeah.
Coming through the main game, I would say the Brutals and Mecha Brutal at the end are the pain points mainly.
Yeah. Although, I mean, you are
can be annoying, but they're easy if you know what you're doing and where to go.
down.
I am gonna go.
And,
I am gonna grab. I think this moon. I think I grabbed this moon with the bird drum, and I kill this guy, and then I come up this way. I think, and then the spiny should walk off, or no?
You gotta stay to the left for that strat.
Yeah, that's what it is.
If you climb up the left, that spino will just walk off.
Okay, there we go. But yeah, that, if you know it, yeah, you can definitely make that bird drum pretty safe. So that's one of the ways I like to grab. And then I think it's a coin toss here. I was talking about this one right in my last round, my practice round. I think it's a coin toss between jumping over the gap here with that long jump or going in with the spinies. I think both are kind of safe. Just kind of preference there. Both work.
That's fair. The only thing that could kill you is like a camera pivot to cause you to not land on Cappy.
Yeah, cause you to have a value dive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could also like just walk into a spiny as well.
I mean, I guess you can jump over the pen though and land on the other side.
It's all comfortability at the end of the day. I mean, Bowser's is a very voidy kingdom in terms of there's a lot of void around you. So you do have to be conscious of it, because if you do fall off, it's going to be, death. So there's no chance of recovery because there's no lava, there's no poison. If you fall, that's it. So definitely something to be aware of in kingdoms like this that have a lot of void in them.
I think I do this, right? Yeah, I jump over this gap.
Yeah, and it's a good place to be in when there are multiple safe strats to nitpick which one is technically safer. That's a good position to be in.
Down throw here for this shard. Pro-con moment. Logature knows nothing about that.
I don't. I use down throws all the time in these runs. They're very helpful, but I don't have to ground pound and potentially roll by mistake, so...
Yeah, that's fair. But you
yeah.
have to deal with potential dropouts and the fact that they're stinking Joy-Cons and they might drift you off the edge and...
Well, all you gotta do, guys, is just buy a new pair of Joy-Cons for $70, $80 every single year because you destroy them.
I was gonna say just buy a new pair of Joy-Cons for every single attempt.
I mean,
if you hold them wrong, they're gonna disconnect, it feels like.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I don't have too many problems with Joy-Con disconnect or input drives, but I also keep my Switch about a foot away from my controller at all times, just to try and minimize any issues that pop up. If you've ever played on Joy-Cons, like on your TV in your living room, and you've been like, why does it feel like half the time my inputs are dropping? It is because half the time your inputs are dropping. A lot of people don't know, Joy-Cons do have input drops the farther away you get from the console. So if you're gonna play on your TV in your living room, I definitely recommend getting a Pro-Con or some other kind of controller. I don't think it's a good idea to play on Joy-Cons unless you're playing like at a desk setup where you can put your Switch really close to the controller.
This is really one of the big pain points for this first pain points in this kingdom. I opt the super safe strat is to drop a couple of hats at a time and kind of take care of them. CheeseJay is going a little bit riskier with this one, which is fair, as long as you know what the triggers are, how they're gonna fall, how they're gonna spin.
If you can nail it every time, it can be safer too, because there is some risk with knocking a couple of hats off at a time where you can get hit by the hats if you miss a hat throw, or if you're not setting it up properly.
I agree with Luggage.
Actually, I have two safe strats on the spreadsheet for this one: a slow and safe, and a fast and not quite as safe.
I personally agree with Luggage there. I think I like the dive on the topper there for that hat spinning phase better than knocking.
I don't do the dive, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't like walking around and knocking all toppers' heads off individually, and I think I can say that.
I still do that. I just sometimes take damage to it, and I accept it.
I think I timed out my faster version of the safe topper is only like 8 to 10 seconds slower than the fast strat, like the straight fast strat.
I'm just talking about the phase where you knock off his hats while he's walking around, not the hat roaming.
Well, yeah. So you knock him off while he's walking around. The trick is to knock 2 of them off. If 2 of them fly off, then he's gonna stop and fall and spin. And so if you aim it for him to get 2 hats off, then you can get the ball.
I believe it's only I believe the first time it's only 1 hat. I believe it.
No, it's definitely 2.
Is it?
I think it's 2.
It's always 2. Yeah. It's a minimum of 2, and if you do it too quick, he won't count his if you do it too quickly, he won't start counting those 2 for like a couple seconds after he stands up.
Speaking of dropped inputs, by the way, since we were just talking about that, right there, perfect example.
You just got a dropped input.
Yeah, I just spin roll, and I just Mario didn't roll.
Yes, dropped inputs unfortunately are a part of this game. Something you have to deal with.
I think we determined this is the safest, right? That long jump, I think.
There are options there, but yeah, it's.
I agree, long jump.
Some of the all the options are kind of inherently risky. So
you have to take some risk there. You're kind of forced into a corner.
Yeah. That bomb area is just not fun.
You gotta be if you're not gonna jump, you gotta walk very carefully along the in between where the bombs are going. If you use the bird and you're just spamming poke, the bombs can still get in through the pokes, especially if it drops a poke. So that's not safe.
I'm curious to see what strats
I'm not gonna
use.
I'm gonna wait for the bird here. I'm confident I could do the backflips, but I'm just gonna wait for the bird. I could do birdless, but I'm just gonna
You're not gonna do the fast strat. Are you going to show the safe strat, right?
Not all the way through. I'm just gonna get up with the bird, and then I'm gonna stay up top.
Oh my gosh, that's such a bad idea. Just for the record, it's such a bad idea for Damageless. There's a safe strat that even if you do a fast version of the safe strat and fall off midway, it's safer than falling off on the final bit, because then you're basically just.
I don't remember it. I'm gonna be honest.
Running around with like a chicken with your head cut off.
I mean, I'll be honest. I do the slowest safe strat for this. That Team and Dan taught me as a backup, and then I said good enough, and I just never learned any other strats.
Yeah, you can do a fast version where you stay up for the first to the second, and then you fall off midway, and then you stay up for the third through the fourth. Yeah. Because, if you accidentally fall off... Because now that Jay's up here, if they fall off between the third and the fourth brutal, it's a lot harder to recover, and that's why I...
especially
but if you fall off and use the bird to get up for the third, then it's a lot easier and a lot safer to stay back up for the fourth. because you can use the bird to stay up for the fort.
If they accidentally bonk and then fall off, there is not much chance of recovery. If you don't bonk, there might be some chance of recovery, but I feel like it's about a 50% chance that you just take damage immediately.
But Jay's a legend and managed to pull it off. GG's Jay.
My damage is 880 does it way riskier than I did there even. But yeah, this boss right here is an example of me being, I guess, stubborn and a dirty speedrunner and having muscle memory and just saying I'm.
And it does save time if you're going for all moons and stamina. So I mean, there are trade-offs. The whole thing is about trade-offs if you're going for everything.
But
and also like, if you're going for 880, this is, as crazy as it seems, we're like what, an hour plus into this. This is early into the run if you're going for 880. This is pretty early on. So you can be riskier, and then not have it be too much of a detriment. Like, once we get 3-4 hours in, then that riskiness is probably going to be really bad. But
I think both of my completions started at least 2 hours into the stream of attempts, both times.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever started a run that deep into a stream. If I get a run and if it's like 2 hours into a stream, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine, good enough.
That's fair.
I also just didn't have as much free time to start runs that deep into a stream. I wouldn't be able to complete it in a sitting.
Yeah, that's another complaint people have with Damageless. They say it takes way too long. But I mean, it only takes way too long if you're good enough for it to take way too long. When you're first starting out, don't be concerned with how way too long it might take, because it probably won't.
Especially if you're going for a high moon count. We have Damageless Darker Side right now to get you like 500 relatively safe moons. So you can get up to 500 in like upwards of like 4 to 5 hours now if you just know what you're doing. I think it took.
Yeah, that's also on the resource sheet.
I believe it took me under 4.5 hours using that route. But I'm also a speedrunner, so.
There's a lot of moons.
What?
There's a lot of moons in this run that are just very safe.
Yeah.
Like all the Toadette moons, like like there's tons of them. Well, not all the Toadette moons, I guess, but
is there any Toadette? I guess World Peace would be one that would have risk involved with it, but I feel like there's very few Toadette achievements that actually have risk.
Toadette has one that is locked behind Dark Side because you need enough hint arts if you go through Dark Side boss rush first.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're never getting that Toadette achievement.
Isn't there also one for hats that you need the invisible cap or something?
No, you don't need the.
Because you need.
I don't think you need the invisible cap for that achievement. There's enough DLC ones now that you should be fine. I think you need it, Luggage, because you run on 1.0.
Yes, because I run on. I'm the only runner on 1.0.
Just to skip Darker Side, rather than get good at the easy stage.
Exactly.
I will never let you live that down.
Well, it's not only to skip Darker Side, it's also to use Toxic Glitch on Jump Rope 100.
Base.
We killed you once.
How do you die to talking to it? I need to see that.
No,
Letter glitch.
No. I died to letter glitch. If you use Talk to Glitch, there's no risk of death.
Yeah.
Because Talk to Glitch is just you ground pound in the air and then you just can stand on the air.
Another benefit of not running on 1.0 is you get access to all the coin arts, which will save you having to do hours of coin grind.
I don't think it's hours.
Yeah, just.
Maybe not hours, but a lot.
It's like an hour of coin grind.
It shouldn't even be an hour. I think with proper routing, in the all moons PowerPoint, it's upwards of like 15 minutes. That's it.
There's 4,000
it's a long time
that you have access to.
The problem is, CheeseJay, you gotta remember that if you're on 1.0, you have to get all the 9999 coin coin outfits stuff.
Well, no, I'm telling you, whenever I used to run all moons on 1.0, it only took me 15 minutes of coin grind. I know that for a fact. That's how.
If you're able to optimize, then you can mitigate some
where
of the time.
Where were you using
where
were you using for the coin grind room?
It is in Bowser's, but even in Snow, it shouldn't add more than a couple minutes. It should not be taking you an hour, I don't think.
I mean, I didn't time it, to be fair.
An hour is a bit ridiculous.
I didn't do optimal routing in terms of like coin. Like I just ignored coins when I was playing through the game in any other spot. So I didn't have a lot of coins.
There's a special safe spot to stand right there for that final phase. But you just neutral throw Cappy until you get the cat that you're looking for.
Yeah, I used to struggle with that third phase quite a bit before I learned that.
And escape is definitely one of those ones where once you learn how to do it, it's pretty easy, pretty consistent. But you definitely have to just put some practice in, get some attempts.
I think the big mistake that people do with the pillar room at the end of the escape is they go for the speed running route to the left. Where if you go the casual route to the right, it's so much safer because the game is literally trying to teach you as you go. You're not jumping directly into all the dangerous bits in the end of the thing going around.
Yeah. And I mean, it seems really chaotic, like where these meteorites are spawning. But if you play it enough times, you realize, no, these meteorites actually spawn the exact same places every single time.
Yeah,
it just seems chaotic because people don't pay attention.
It is a cycle-based room.
CheeseJay will just move. It will spawn wherever you're standing. So this one, you just have to like get a few hits in, move to the side, and then get the rest of the hits in. Because it aims for you.
Yeah. And at the very end, you could actually spam claw slashes faster if you're standing still and not moving forward on the stick. Neutral stick claw slashes are faster.
And you'll also see, like, in the speedrun, they throw fireballs to knock these pillars down from afar. And typically, we don't really do that in Damageless, just because you might be a little more focused on trying to throw the fireballs and aim them correctly and miss being hit by something. It's a little safer to just be focused on Bowser himself and not try to be doing too many things at once where you get distracted and then your run's over.
This is much easier to stay on cycle if you're not potentially missing fireballs. That can quickly get you off cycle.
But there's an invisible rock that can actually hit you there, or did we determine something like that?
I think it was just hidden that one time behind the pillar.
There we go, and that is world peace with one hit because I was an idiot, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And I tried something new in a run, which I shouldn't have done. Okay, there we go.
Never try new things. The one of the worst things you can hear,
by the way.
That's new. That's new is one of the worst phrases for Damageless. Not a bad time either.
Yeah, I'll take a 131. That's like a minute off the fastest I've done world peace Damageless.
GG's.
Congratulations, yeah, 131.20 is the time I got. I think I might have finished the timer a bit late though, because I didn't hear time until.
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to say it. Yeah, I was too distracted with what Dan and Logan were saying. This is my first time having two commentators in MVC, so it's fine.
No, that's fine, don't worry. Right then, everybody, the next run in InstaSpeedathon, mini InstaSpeedathon, sorry, 2023 is going to be Code Bunny Hazel by Traylina. We'll be going to that in about 5 to 10 minutes time or so. We just need to do some sound checks and all that stuff, obviously, and then we'll be going straight on to that. After that run, we've got like a back-to-back runs from Shotu. Shotu is a has done a lot of runs at InstaSpeedathon in the past, and that's back-to-back Circuit, Superstars, Ball 3D, and Jumpin' Jack. So those will be back-to-back runs after Traylina's run. So we've got some short runs for the next few runs as well, which is quite nice. It kind of fits with the mini theme, of course. Obviously, a 1 hour 40 run doesn't quite fit with the mini theme, but it's all okay. It's InstaSpeedathon. We do what we want to do here all the time. Anyway, we're going to go over to that, but don't forget, of course, we are doing this as a charity event for EveryoneCan. If you'd like to donate, please type !donate in the chat. I have come across a few different issues with different things. I think I have fixed most of them. So, for example, the donation messages I mentioned before, obviously the donation messages weren't coming through. That should now be fixed. So, if you do put a donation message, I should now be able to read it out on stream. But again, if anyone does come across any issues in the donation system, please let me know as soon as possible so that I can try and fix it quickly. Again, this is just a trial. I expect issues. I'm expecting problems because... oh, we've just had another we just had something through, I think. Hang on. Hey, we're Lugager with is that have I pronounced that correctly?
It's luggage, like luggage.
Lugager. Okay.
Lugager, yeah.
And the donation message has come through. It's yo, what up? Thank you very much for that £10 donation, and it also goes towards the Mushroom Kingdom Bosses Showcase, but that hasn't reached its £50 donation target, so we won't be seeing that. And there's also a language select on something, which I will have to check. Hang on. Oh. The language select on the Sonic Forces 80% no rental, but that run's already been, so that's fine.
I just selected a bunch of stuff.
It's okay, don't worry about it. We've had another £10 donation come through as well, I think, which... Have we? Hang on, I've got 2 emails here. Oh, they might have been just about the same thing. That's fine. Right, no worries. Okay, so, thank you for all those donations. If anyone else wants to donate, exclamation mark donate in the chat. We'll bring up the donation link. And obviously, if there's any issues with the donations, please let me know so that I can fix them. Again, this is a trial of the new system that we're using for future events as well going forward. And hopefully we'll... I have come across a few issues already, but I have tried to fix them at the same time. So most things should now be fixed. But again, let me know if there's any other issues. So, CheeseJay, if you have any final words you'd like to say before we finish off and go on to the next run.
Yeah, I would just like to say that I do stream mostly on weekends, not because I'm busy with college, but I do stream twitch.tv/CheeseJay with 2 Ys. I've been doing a lot of Odyssey still. I think I might come back to Damageless at some point, maybe next year, maybe next summer. But, yeah, if Dan or you or Logan have anything you guys want to shout out real quick, feel free.
I don't really stream anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I stream when I am available. I do a lot of Damageless stuff. Play through Wonder, obviously. But, yeah.
Fantastic Mario game, by the way. That game was so much.
Very good,
yeah.
yeah.
Very fun game casually.
I think I'm going to do Damageless attempts of Wonder, I believe, in the future.
Well, good luck with that. But yeah, I think that's all for me.
Excellent, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next time.
Yep.